I believe, I believe it goes up if the world is more frightened, if people have fearful of geopolitical risk, they're fearful of their own risk. It's no different than what gold represented over thousands of years. It is a asset class that protects you.
Right.
And unlike gold, where we manufacture new gold, we're almost at the ceiling of the amount of Bitcoin that be created.
When you hear somebody like Cathie Wood,
yes,
who was on our broadcast yesterday, say
right,
that her base case is that this turns into a $600,000 a Bitcoin valuation, base case, and a million plus in a super optimistic case. Are you anywhere in her realm?
I haven't thought about it. To me, that what we are trying to do is offer an instrument that can store wealth. I think if it gets that even close to that high, gold will represent even a bigger value. And let's be clear, if you think of digital gold, there's going to be a reference point between gold and Bitcoin.
Crypto family, welcome back to the channel. Aaron here, coming back at you with another cryptocurrency video today. And the Bitcoin ETFs are now trading, got approved on Wednesday, a big milestone for Bitcoin. And Jim Cramer, he's calling for a Bitcoin top. He says top, and this is not an ETF, is a trust. So he's calling for a Bitcoin top. He's saying sell Bitcoin, the price is going to go down. And he's been right so far. The price of Bitcoin has gone down today. But every time Jim calls something, it seems to be completely wrong. And he was just bullish a couple of days ago. So how can anybody believe this guy, Jim? He flip-flops every other day. But this could actually be a bullish signal here to buy more Bitcoin. But what happened with Bitcoin on the first day, we can see right here. This is a Reddit post that kind of wraps it all up. So there was $4.6 billion in total trading volume around all of the Bitcoin ETFs. A lot of that trading volume was from Grayscale, the GBTC trust. A lot of people had Bitcoin in there, and they were just waiting for this to get approved to finally sell their Bitcoin, put in some of the other Bitcoin ETFs because they have lower fees. Grayscale does have the highest fee of any of the ETFs at 1.5% compared to the others, as you can see right here. And the second highest traded volume was BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin ETF. And you can see over here on the website that they actually bought $120 million of Bitcoin after the first day of inflow. So that's pretty significant for one day of an ETF being open. And the entities expected to bring in the most funds to the Bitcoin ETFs are brokers and financial advisors managing high net worth individuals' monies. These professionals can't just recklessly add any assets to the portfolio they manage. While policies vary by company, typically it takes around 90 days to process the inclusion of a new item in a portfolio. So just because the Bitcoin ETFs are out now, it doesn't mean that just billions and billions of dollars are going to flow into them right away. And it's the same thing that we saw with the gold ETF back in 2004. The price of gold actually went down for a year or two after that was approved, but then it went on a massive bull run. So, this is something to take into consideration, that we're not going to see just a ton of money piling on day one or day two or day three. These things take time, and we're seeing a lot of selling right now from that Grayscale Bitcoin ETF because of a lot of people had their Bitcoin locked up in there. They got Bitcoin at a discount. Now they can finally sell it at market value. So a lot of people are taking profits there. And a new update here after I finish recording the video you're listening to right now. I just wanted to go over this here. We have the total day one flows for the Bitcoin ETFs. You can see right here, Bitwise had 237 million. Fidelity had 226 million. iShares at around 111. ARK at 65. Franklin at 50. You can see some of the smaller ones down here, but Grayscale had that $95 million loss. A lot of people basically taking profits on their Bitcoin there. So that's what we're seeing from Grayscale. But that's actually really, really good. A total of 625 million inflows. If you get rid of GBTC, around 720 million inflows to the Bitcoin ETF. So that is really, really good to see there. And it's going to be really interesting to see how these numbers expand over the next couple of weeks, next couple of months into the future. And there is a lot of FUD going around the space right now. People are scared because Bitcoin's pulling back. I think this is actually a pretty healthy pullback, and it does remind me a lot of 2019 when we hit that bottom and went all the way up to around 13,400 before having a bit of a pullback, but that just led into the next Bitcoin bull run after the Bitcoin halving. We're kind of seeing that same thing here. Wouldn't be surprised if we get a little bit of a pullback. We're kind of boring for a couple of months for quarter one, and then after the Bitcoin halving, maybe that's when we start to see the Bitcoin price start to pick back up and start to retest old all-time highs. Maybe later this year, that could be a possibility. This does just feel a lot like 2019 when we just had a massive bull run there from the bottom. It seems very, very similar to that time period. So I wouldn't be surprised if it plays out similar to what we saw back here in 2019. And then we do have the halving coming very, very soon. Halving progress is 93%. If we look back and see what Bitcoin did after the 93% mark, back here it went up. Back here it actually dumped down. This was the COVID dump actually. And then and so it kind of just went down into the halving. And right now we could potentially go down. We could go up. Who knows? But we know what happens normally about a year and a half after the halving. That's when we have the Bitcoin tops, as you can see right here, and right here. And the Bitcoin ETF did break some records. The Bitcoin ETF trading volume just hit $4.6 billion on the first day. The gold ETF took almost 2 years to get to 1.5 billion. So in my personal opinion, all this volume around the Bitcoin ETF, all these commercials that we're going to be seeing from these different ETF filers, all the hype around crypto Twitter, all the hype in the traditional space, I think it's good for Bitcoin. I think that people are going to start to learn what Bitcoin is, why it's important. And once you do that, you're like, hey, maybe I should have some of that in my portfolio. So I think that's what we're going to see over the next year or two. So a quick video here. Just want to get you guys brought back up to speed what's been going on with the Bitcoin ETF. But I did want to leave you guys with a clip from Elon Musk talking about what he sees Bitcoin as. And I actually agree a lot with what Elon says in this clip here. He views Bitcoin as a digital gold, but I'm gonna go ahead and play this clip. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit that like button if you found any value. I'm out. Let's go ahead and check out this clip.
For a transaction, as a high volume transaction system, it is very good for engineered scarcity, kind of like gold or something like that. In fact, I think it was originally called BitGold in the evolution of idea. So that seems to be where it's, its main use is. I guess there is some talk of like the Lightning Network on top of Bitcoin.
I think to do our part, this is part of what today is all about. We want to break news on X. And I think more and more companies and people will break news on X. So hence ARKB. But also you wanted to be the everything app. And I know on this call, there are a lot of people who have a strong view about how quickly you'd be able to proliferate that throughout the world with Bitcoin as part of the infrastructure.
Yeah, I'm open to the idea of using Bitcoin. I mean, it's like I said, it's of the various things that I think about Bitcoin very little. But I've thought about monetary systems a lot and the actual practicalities of exchanging money, or money is really just data, information in a database. And basically money is an information system for labor allocation. So, but most people think of money as having power in and of itself, but you can obviously run some basic thought experiments and say, if you have $1 trillion on it, you're marooned on an island, it's useless because there's no labor to allocate. You only once you have some complexity and, you have people with different skills, then you need sort of an information system for labor allocation and to shift obligations across time. But it's remarkable how many people think money has power in and of itself, because that is their experience, certainly in any advanced economy. For example, if you were to say, like, let's spend more money on healthcare, I'm like, okay, well, you can't instantaneously change the number of doctors. Doctors take roughly 30 years to, for a new doctor, a baby to be born and ultimately to be educated and become a doctor. You can't just throw money at a system and suddenly have, get doctors from a magic doctor factory.